That is me in a video game. Look, I can even shoot myself. Pretty crazy, right? And I've done that using this. This is the Range 2 3D scanner from Revopoint. And this tool is amazing, especially for makers. But now if you want to scan little objects, like for example this tiny Arduino here, this is not the optimal tool for that. If you want, you can go to revoprint3d.com and search for the mini scanner, and that will do a very good job for small detailed objects. But today I want to show you this, the Range 2 3D scanner. But this is made to work better with big parts, like for example car body parts, machinery, furniture, tools if you want. So that's why I've ordered it. Because you see, my brother has a cool BMW and we want to start making parts for that car, like body kits. And I want to 3D scan the entire car, then design the parts, print it with my huge printer, which by the way I have here and I haven't used yet. And once I have the part, I want to use some maybe carbon fiber or glass fiber and finish the entire part and then paint it and add it to the body kit of the car. That will be a great idea. That's why I want the Ranger 2 scanner. So before we continue with the rest of the video where I show the process of scanning, what you receive with the scanner and everything else, just let me show you some of the scans that I made with the scanner, some of the big scans. And I started with something like small or medium, like some toys from my daughter, like a teddy bear, and that went great. The quality of that teddy bear was great, so the bigger that you get, the better it will get because this is made, once again, for big objects. And then I've tried scanning a motor that I have here in my workshop because I want to use that for a future project and I would like to have a 3D scan of the motor. Now the motor turned out very well, but the black parts are not perfect and I will explain why in a few moments. Then I passed to some bigger objects. For example, I've scanned the bin that I have here in my workshop, which is red, and that scan also turned out great. Even the inside of the bin, I could see inside of it, the textures, everything, the sizes as it should be. So yeah, once again, a great scan. And then I've passed to some even bigger objects. For example, I scanned a full-sized furniture here in my home, and this was with a lot of books and a lot of details, and that also turned out great. So now I have a full scan of that furniture, and if I were to use it in a project or maybe 3D print something around it, I have that design and that works great. So if you are a person that is designing furniture with 3D objects and 3D parts, you should consider this scanner because it will be very useful for your workshop. Then I've passed to some even bigger objects. For example, I went outside and I tried scanning an entire statue. Now the result was quite okay, but the problem was that the statue was so big that I wasn't reaching the upper side of the statue, so the head is not that good. But the rest of the details were okay, and the statue had a lot of small details because it wasn't a smooth statue, it was like chopped up. But even so, the scanner went great and I had to scan it at night because I will tell you in the video that scanning by day is not that good. And then I've also scanned a fountain of my town, and this is like a very old fountain with a lot of details and also turned out great. I wasn't able to scan the back of the fountain because it was very smooth and it didn't have too many details, and you have to place some dots to do that, and I didn't have the dots with me, so I had to scan only the front face of the fountain, and that turned out great with a lot of details. So for example, you have some antique parts like tools or maybe conserve the objects in your town, you can scan those and maybe place them online and have all this with categories and all the antiques parts that you are scanning with tools and so on. So that's also a quite nice object to scan, which is also very big. Then I've tried to also scan my car, but you see, since the car has the same color all around, the scanner couldn't find the details to track the car. That's why you need to use those glowing dots. In this case, I went outside at dusk or maybe even night because with sunlight it's very difficult to scan, and I start scanning the car, but in order to scan the entire car I have to fill it with those reflective dots, and I didn't have the time to do that, and I didn't want to do that because what I wanted to scan my brother's car, not my car. So I've only scanned one part of the car, which is well like 1 meter in diameter, and it turned out very good. So if I were to fill my entire car with those dots, I would be able to scan the entire car. And that is said, we can continue with the video. So today we're gonna check out the scanner, make a bunch of tests that I've already prepared to show you the pros and cons, what you can scan, what you can't scan with the scanner, also scan myself and place myself inside of a video game that, by the way, I'm designing for like more than a year. It will be a surprise, so I won't show you too much of the game. Anyway, that being said, let's check this scanner out and let's get started. What's up my friends, welcome back. Today we're gonna check the Range 2 3D scanner from Revoprint. And by the way, I'm new to 3D scanning, so I'm still learning, but I want to share my experience with this device. and it went quite good, I think. So I want to show you what you can scan with this and what you can't, the problems that I had with this device, why you should buy such a tool, and what I would use it for, and also the scans that I've made and share those with you, what you receive in the box, and so on. So that being said, let's get started. Okay, so you receive it inside of a very nice leather box. And inside you get the scanner and also a useful tripod. Obviously the scanner has a tripod thread below, so you can use it. Then we have a portable battery for using it with your smartphone, and you also get the smartphone support, which is also useful. On the other hand, we get two USB cables. One is for using it with the PC, and it's a bit longer, and you also get a short cable for using it with your smartphone, for connecting it to the battery or recharge the battery. And you also get the user manual, a smart mat with reflected dots for scanning, but you also get some separated stickers for place those around your scan and also use it for during scanning for markings. To use it, just connect it to your PC, and I also like how the USB cable has a screw to make sure that the cable won't get unplugged during your scan and you would lose everything, so that's a nice touch having that screw there. Okay, so go to revoprint3d.com and download the RevoScan software and install it. Run the software and it will connect automatically to your scanner if you have it connected. On the side you have the modes. You have the high accuracy, the standard mode, or the high speed one. You can select the tracking mode and also what type of object you will scan. And finally you have a button to switch for the color scanning, and that will also take some pictures for the textures of the object. And you will see that the scanner starts flashing some LEDs along the camera and taking some pictures for the colors. Now press start and just scan your objects. You need to move without any fast movements or the tracking might get lost. You need to do some practice to get it right, but anyway. And you also need to stay at the right distance, but luckily you get an indicator on the screen marking the distance and the range you have to be in. You will see that it will turn green, marking the perfect spot that you have to be in. Okay, now something about lighting. This device is using infrared light to make the scans. So scanning outside in the sun is impossible because the sun is giving so much infrared light that is overlapping with the light from the device. I've tried scanning some in the shadow, I've tried scanning some poles from the street, some bugs made out of wood from the park and so on, but without any results. Even using the markers, I wasn't able to scan in the sun. So scanning my car in the sun would be impossible because I don't have a garage. So that means that scanning my own car, so I might do it at night or maybe just find someone who has a garage because I don't have one and scan it inside there. Luckily, my brother does have a garage, so when I'll go there and scan his car for the BMW for making the parts, I'll use this inside of a closed environment so we don't have any light from the sun. So have that in mind that with daylight you can use this tool outside. Oh, and by the way, since this is using infrared light, you can't scan anything transparent neither. For example, the glasses, the plastic bottles will appear as nothing is there because the light will just pass through. So have that in mind as well. You need to scan opaque things that could reflect the light. Now during the scans, you can adjust the exposure manually or automatically, both for the 3D camera and for the color camera. You even have two buttons for increasing or decreasing the exposure right on the scanner itself. And that really helps, but you also might find some problems. And the problems appear when you have something very light mixed with some very dark spots. For example, if I were to scan this power supply, as you can see, its main color is white and it's shiny. So the exposure will set on this white color. But as you can see, the knob is dark, is black, so it won't reflect the light. But since the light is exposed on this main color, which is white, it will see the knob as an empty space, like you don't have anything here as a whole. So that's the problem. When you have something big that's white or light and very small details that are black, it won't detect the black spots. What I've seen is that you can use some baby powder and add it on top of the black parts, and that will make them shine a little bit more and reflect more light, and that could help. And you also can get some spray, like a spray paint, but it's made out of powder that will go in like 24 hours. But we'll talk about that in just a few moments when we talk about the problems that you have while scanning. For easy use, you can connect it to your smartphone as well and install the app on your smartphone. Then power the scanner with your external battery. Open the Wi-Fi on your phone and connect to the scanner with the Wi-Fi signal. Then just open the app and you are good to go. And on this app you have the same settings as on the PC one, but maybe it's a little bit slower than the PC. And the scanning process could be very fast if you prepare well your objects. And that's very important, the objects, because as I've told you, if the parts has too many shiny parts, is too dark with too light contrast, is transparent, or if you want to scan directly in the sun, well, it might be impossible or very difficult. But there are some ways to make your object more opaque and reflect more light. And the first one would be to just paint it using spray paint, but let's be honest, who wants to do that? Imagine that you want to scan your smartphone. You don't want to paint it, or maybe your car is too dark and you want to paint it with white. No, that's not a good option. The other option, as I've told you, is to use some baby powder, but maybe some of the objects are not that sticky, so you have to wet them and then throw the powder on top of it. It can create a mess. It works, it does a good job, but it's not the perfect solution yet. And then you have another option, but this is a little bit more pricey, because if you go online, you can buy just like a spray paint, but instead of paint, you get like some powder inside of it. And this will go away automatically by itself in around 20 to 24 hours. It will leave no residue, so it's very easy to spray it on your car, on precious things that you have, because it will clean itself in like 20 hours. And you can clean it with water, and that's it. So that will be the best option. I don't have one yet because it's quite expensive, and till I will go to my brother's house and scan his car, I won't buy it yet. For scanning myself, in the app just select the body option, but also check the color, so we also get the texture of myself. Having someone to help you with is a lot easier, but in my case I was all alone in my workshop. That's why I bought this rotating chair bearing. It cost just like $15 I think, so you just screw it on a piece of wood, and now I have a turntable. I place it on the floor, I get on top of the scanner, I place the scanner in front of me with a tripod and just start spinning around. And in around 40 seconds I had a scan of myself. Obviously I don't have the rest of the body or the top of my head, because for that you need help and you need a person to move the scanner up and down, and I don't have that. But for me, for this test, it was enough, because I only wanted the face to just make this example and place it inside of a video game. Okay, so then what about these stickers? Well, these work a lot better for objects that you don't really want to take the color as well, only the shape, because they position the scan very well, but as you can see, you have to place them on top of the object. And for example, this wood material would be covered and you have to re-edit it and maybe in Blender cover the color here, because you will scan the color of the dots as well. But for example, for cars, where you don't really need the color of the car, you only need the shape and the size, it's perfect, because you place all these dots on top of the frame of the car, and then you scan it, you don't lose tracking, and you get the entire part. You can even scan the entire car at the same time using these dots. So that's what usually they are used for big parts, where you don't want to take also the texture, the color of the object. And the other option, instead of using the stickers, is to use the mat that they give you for example, the far mode. And you have two options. You can place the mat on the side of the object in case of the object is big, like for example your car, so it will keep track while you are moving, but then you have to pause the scan, move it a little bit further, scan the other part of your car. Or you can just place the object on top of the mat and then scan around, because like that the machine will always know where it is, because it has all these dots, so you don't have to place the dots on top of your object. So you can do that as well. And another small problem that you might find is for round objects. For example, I've tried to scan this can here, and since it's round, the scanner doesn't know which is the top side, the bottom side, so while you are rotating around it, it won't know how to place it. So you can use the mat or the dots, but you could also just place random objects on the side, so the scanner will know which is which and which side is the top side, which is the bottom side, and so on. So just place random object on the side, which you can then in the editor eliminate and just keep the object that is round. For example, a globe, a ball, something like this, which is cylindrical, you can scan it like that. Okay, so finally, how do you export the part? Well, first you have to scan it. If you use your phone to scan it, you can then just click the share button and scan a QR code on your desktop software and transfer the scan to the PC. You can also edit it on your phone, but it's a lot faster on the PC. Okay, so scan your object on all the sides. The scanner has a pause button, so you can just click it, pause the scan, flip the object and continue scanning it on the other side, and like that you get all the sides of your object. Once you have all the frames, you can enter the keyframes and go one by one in case that you have some failed one and you want to delete it. Once you do that, you can pass to the next step. So once you have all the sides and the frames of your scan, is to go here and click the fusion button, and that will merge all the frames into just one point cloud, which is basically a cloud of points representing your 3D object. It's not a mesh yet, it's just a point cloud. But in this option, you can see that you have some tools for isolation, for overlaying detection, smooth, and simplify. So you can use this, for example, the isolation tool to eliminate anything that is on side of your print. So just click that and remove the prints, and you can also go manually with the lasso tool and just select the points that you want to eliminate. Then you hit delete and it will disappear. So you just take the points that you want. Once you have the point cloud, which is clean and smoothed, then you can go to the next option, which is clicking the mesh option. And this will take some time, but it will generate a mesh. So now you have a 3D object. And then also the tools for the mesh will also appear for isolation, fill the holes, smooth, and simplify. For example, the fill holes is a very useful tool because sometimes when you scan it, you will see that your parts might have some small holes. So you just click the fill holes and it will fill those with some vertices and also add the color for the texture, which is great. And finally, when you have your part, your mesh, you can click the texture button and select if you want your vertices to have the color, or create a map for your color, which is usually used for Blender or for Unreal, for example, to have just a picture with all the texture of your file. Once you do that, you are finished. You have your mesh with your colors and everything, and if you want to export it, you click the export button. As you can see, you can export the point clouds, the mesh if you want, or the texture of the module. Or you can click the all models button and it will export an OBJ file with the mesh, the texture, and everything that you need for the other software. And that's it. That's how easy it is to get your OBJ file, and then you can use it in Blender, add some effect, add some colors, or you can use it in Unreal and, for example, place your head on top of a different character for your video game or any other object. For example, I've scanned the drill here and I've placed it inside of my game, because what I want to do is to scan some different props, some 3D printers, some Arduinos, and some small tools, and then use those for my game, because this game will be in the future, like on Mars, and I want it to be based like on a maker that uses Arduino and the tools, the 3D printing tool and the cutting machine to make guns and so on. It would be like Rust, but based on like a maker life. Anyway, okay guys, so what objects did I scan? Well, I've tested with a variety of objects, including myself, but as I've told you, I had some problems with some of the objects. The first problem, well, the object is too small, and as I've told you, the range 2 is made for big parts. With big parts, I had no problems. I scanned my drill here. I've even scanned some furniture or the entire room, because you see, I don't want to change the furniture, but I do want to add some parts on the side of the furniture. And with that scan, I have the exact size of my furniture and also of the wall, and I know how to place everything inside there. So if I were to 3D print something and place it on the wall, I know the size that I want to give it. I've also tested with some small objects, some parts from my baby, for example, some toys. I've also tested with fruits and vegetables, with plants. With plants, there is a bit difficult part, because some plants have some very light spots and very dark spots, and the dark spots absorb all the light, and you won't see that in the scan. I've tested with some 3D printers and also some tools, and I had some good results and bad results, and I'll try to place those on the screen so you could see it for yourself. I've also went outside during the day. I had no results whatsoever, but then I went outside during the night and I've tried to scan a statue. I will also try to place the results on the screen so you could see. And I've also tried to scan a small part of my car during the night, because during the night you only have the light from the city, but you don't have the light from the sun, so you don't have too much infrared light there to mess with your scan. So it went pretty decent, I could say, but the good test will be when I'll have a garage and place my car inside and then scan it, and I'll share with you. By the way, I should mention that it will be a lot useful to have a spinning table like this one. I've made one for myself that I could spin around, which is just a mechanical bearing, but this one is motorized. This just costs like $10 from the internet, but Revopoint also sells one that rotates but also tilts, and that is a lot better when you're scanning something, because you can control that with the app and just tilt the object without touching it, and the scan will be a lot better. And you can also get the big one, which is a little bit more expensive, but it can go up to, I think, 400 kilograms, so you can completely scan yourself without having any problem. So check revoprint.com for that options as well. So guys, these were all the scans that I've made. I think I've made some more scans, but those were just tests, so I deleted them so I can show those results to you. But I hope that I will be soon going to the village of my brother and scan the entire car and share with you how can I scan the motors, the parts, the body kits, and so on. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you now know how to use such a scanner, and also think for yourself if you would want to buy one or not. I think it's a pretty useful tool. And by the way, check also the Revoprint Scanner Mini, because that is a little bit better with small objects with more details. So if you want to scan something around your workshop, or maybe you are making modeling parts, that is a lot better. That being said, I hope that you like this video and that you have learned something new. If you like this video, comment below or give a like to this video and share with your friends. Keep up, you guys.
So guys, did you like this video? I hope so. Okay, so look, I would really like to thank you to all of you for the support, especially for those who are supporting me on Patreon, because that's a really nice thing to do. And if you can support me on Patreon, well, all you can do is to just like my videos or comment below in order to get more activity on YouTube. That will really help me. And if not, you have all my links below for my shop, for my website, if you want to buy my t-shirts and so on. So thanks again and see you in the next video.